Okay, so this is another in my series of Fireside Chats where I chat to somebody who's got a bounce back loan, and I've got another person on the line. Hello.
Hello.
Right then, now you've got one hell of a story to tell. You contacted me this week in something of a panic state because a sequence of events had played out. That's right, yep.
That's right. Yes. I received. I went to get some money out of my account on Thursday, and the card was declined.
Okay.
So then I obviously came back home and I looked on my online statement, and it just basically wouldn't let me do anything to it. It said I had not got any accounts, which I knew I had, and there was money sitting there.
Okay. Right, well,
So
let me backtrack now. So,
yeah.
you called me this week and I listened to what you had to say. In fact, you've been phoning me up a lot this week because we've been pushing some things forward and contacting the right people, etc. Now, you got a bounce back loan sometime. When did you get that bounce back loan, roughly?
I got my bounce back loan in probably March 2021.
Okay, now you did everything right with that. You didn't do anything wrong. You just applied and you got it, and everything was sorted. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I just applied and I followed the criteria, and I got the bounce back loan. Yes.
Okay, and then there's a bit of a backstory here because you were desperate to take some of the pay as you grow options, weren't you?
I was trying to. I had to. The loan came into my account from a feeder account.
Okay.
And then the feeder account magically disappeared. So when it got to the time that payments were due, I tried to kind of set up a pay-as-you-go option to give me an extra 6 months because I still wasn't having a very good turnover.
Okay.
And the bank just wouldn't cooperate with me at all, wouldn't kind of give me any information on how I could set up the pay-as-you-grow option or even set it up for me.
Okay, well, just an explanation. If you're not aware of what a feeder account was, several of the banks offered them, and it was a way of them paying your bounce back loan into this feeder account, which was like a disposable account. And once it had received your bounce back loan, it fired it back out to an account of your choosing. Then the bank account just self-imploded and vanished. But with certain lenders, what happened was when the pay-as-you-grow options became a thing, when they were announced long after the scheme had started, all the banks that had customers who had been paid by one of these feeder accounts had to bring them back to life. They were like zombie accounts. So they brought them back to life, and then they issued PIN sentries and special account details for people to log in. So you're telling me your lender, you were practically begging them, weren't you, to try and set this up, yeah?
Yeah, I was practically begging them to try and set this up, and nothing was forthcoming from them whatsoever.
Right, well, so let's move on now. So obviously, without you being able to make them payments, the reduced ones, or even take a 6 month break with the pay-as-you-grow options, did you get into arrears? Were you struggling?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't even meet the payments because I just wasn't getting any income in whatsoever. I was in the travel industry, and as you know, it just I'm still in the travel industry, but as you know, during COVID, I mean, that just ground to a halt. I mean, planes were grounded and people just weren't going on holiday because they couldn't get in or out of the UK or into other countries.
Got you. All right. Well, it's like every industry was in some way or shape or form sort of affected by it. Okay, so you missed some payments then, did you? And
I did, yeah.
Was there any sort of response from the bank? Did they come phoning you up morning, noon, and night saying pay us at this point?
No, they didn't. I mean, I didn't hear from them. And then I got a letter. I got one letter, and I did phone, and I tried to kind of say to them that I just can't afford it at the moment. I literally haven't got no income whatsoever, and they just weren't kind of obliging whatsoever. And I was going through a lot of personal trauma at the time that because they kind of didn't want to help, then I think in a way it was my fault because I did kick it into the long grass because
you've told me about them the issues, and I'm no way in the world am I going to push you on that, but if you should have phoned that bank up and they should have listened to exactly what you were trying to say. explain in detail, and then they could have said, well, hang on a minute, you've got some missed payments here. However, because of one reason and another, you've not been able to set up the pay-as-you-grow options. So let's sort of, there should have been a whole department eager to help you there. But it's just like, they might say, well, you're guilty for missing payments. But if you turn this around, the bank should have been compassionate and offered you some forbearance and set you up a pay-as-you-grow options.
No, they didn't seem to care, to be quite honest.
Well, to be honest, I know which bank we're talking about here, and there's a number of banks which are quite similar in as much as it's like when you contact the bank, you're on hold for hours, and then to actually speak to somebody in a bounce back loan department, it's like they're locked in a cellar. They've not got any telephones. A messenger pigeon's the only way they can be contacted. But I understand what you're saying there. So
They just seemed all they seemed to want was, well, you've got to pay, that's it. That's what I mean. And I said, I knew, but I just had no money, and I didn't not want to pay, but I couldn't pay because I had no money.
Okay.
That was the bottom line, really. There's just nothing coming in. I mean, I know, as you know, my husband works abroad, but even he was put on no income, so there was nothing we could do.
So you've had a hell of a journey up to that stage with also what was going on personally in your life. Now we now move on to what forced you to ring up my helpline this week, because you were in quite. I'll be honest with you, you were in quite a state, and unfortunately I had plenty of time to help you talk you through things. So what spurred the call to me?
Because I found out my bank was somehow blocked. So on the Friday night, when I kind of found out that everything was blocked and I couldn't do anything, I phoned up the helpline number, and they put me through to a different department.
Yeah.
And this different department said that they looked at it, and the account was still active and the card was still active, but there'd been a block on the whole account further down the line.
Right.
And they would put me through to that department. I never got through to that department. The phone wasn't ringing or didn't answer on the Friday. And so I phoned back again on the Saturday morning, thinking, not realising that the department that I was meant to be getting through to was only open from 9 to 5, Monday to Friday.
Ah, well, there we go. Isn't that typical of the banking system? So you're now stranded. You haven't got a penny to your name. Your card's not working in the machine. You've no idea, and there's nobody there to help you until the start.
There's no idea, nothing, no kind of anybody to talk to say, look, can somebody explain what's going on? On the Saturday, when I got through to another lady, and basically she said, they kept saying, "Oh, we'll put you through to the right department." They must have known that the right department was closed, but they kept saying, and I said, well. They then put me through to the right department, and then I got, sorry, this office is now closed. It's only open from 9 to 5 on Monday to Friday. So then I put the phone down and I phoned back to speak to somebody, and I said, well, surely somebody could just enlighten me on what's going on. But she says, oh, we're not allowed to say. Well,
Well, yeah, because I remember our first conversation. I was trying to get my head around what you were telling me, with what I know about the bounce back loan scheme and what the likely scenario was. Right now, you'd previously received at some point in time a letter from a certain debt collector about the bounce back loan. Yeah, can you tell me a bit about that?
Well, I phoned them up, and they basically, what I was meant, said I could offer, they weren't prepared to accept. And it's my fault because I didn't persevere, because I just got enough on my plate, and I didn't persevere, and I thought, okay, I can't afford any more than that, and I just left it. And then I suppose in a way I kicked it into the long grass, which I shouldn't have done. Then when I phoned them again,
that was this week. Sorry. What?
Yeah. When I phoned them again this week, they said, oh, we can't help you. We put it back to the lender.
Ah, okay. So they've now passed it back to the lender.
Yeah, the lender. I phoned the debt collector, and they have told me that it's gone back to the lender. And then, obviously, on speaking briefly with the lender, where they wouldn't tell me any more information, they have said it's still with the debt collector. But I really don't know where it is or what's happening. And I think that was what is upsetting me. I don't know what was going on.
Exactly. So you like I say, you were really distressed. So what I did this week was I got you the contact details for the CEO's team over at that particular bank, and tell me what happened with them. What was the story?
Well, obviously I wrote to them and told them of my situation, because obviously, as you know, there's been quite a lot of personal tragedy in my family over the last 2 years. So apart from trying to get my business back on track, I've been had all this personal tragedy, and my brain just wasn't in the right place. So I went to them and explained my situation and said, look, I'm here now, I've been struggling for the last 2 years, and now I find that the only bank account I've got where I can actually survive and get money from, you've closed, and I've got no means of money whatsoever to help me until we sort the situation out.
Got you.
And basically they came back and said they were investigating it all.
Right. So now, as of today, you've just received some sort of letter from them or an email or something. Have they been in touch?
Yeah, today I've received, obviously, they sent me a letter saying, no, the bank account's closed.
Right.
So any money in there they're going to be sending back to me. What I'm going to, in a form of a cheque, what I'm going to do with it, I don't know, because I haven't got a bank account to put it in.
This is outrageous. So they've closed your account, and they're going to send you what's in there back to you. Is that what they're saying?
Yeah, that's what they're saying. And a couple of my husband's state pension and he's got a work pension as well. They both go into this bank, and we have tried to contact both originators, but the payrolls have already been run. So basically, it will carry on and try and hit the bank's account, but obviously they will send it back. Which will obviously, we've spoken to the originators, and they said, well, if they send it back, you'll obviously at the end of the month get the 2 months, but that doesn't help me in the situation at the moment. There's money due to me that I can't have to survive, because this bank won't, I just feel that they could have let me have it open for a few days to extract that money myself. Yeah. And then close it.
This is outrageous.
If that's what they wanted to do. But they've just closed it, and so I've got no way of getting any money in there, and I've got no way of getting any money to help myself. And the lender just isn't sympathetic at all, really, it seems.
Oh, now I also I've got a contact over at the FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority. Can you just, because when I listened to your story, which you've been telling me this week, the FCA needed to know about it. So with your permission, I passed your details over to them. And have you got an update? Have they been in touch? What's the story?
Yeah, right. They came in touch. Basically, they got in touch the next day with me, and what they wanted was a précis of all the personal background, and the situation as it is of today, and up to date. So I've sent that to them, and I had just a brief letter back that they're sending it up to a caseworker who will now kind of investigate it and go back to the lender.
Fantastic. All right, that's...
Yeah, but they needed to know all my personal situation.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to push you on your personal predicament, etc. But the way this lender... You see, the helpline I've got, I get calls like yours morning, noon and night, and it all stems back, your story I've just laid out there, all stems back to the bank's error in not helping you set up the pay-as-you-grow options months and months and months and months and months ago. If they'd have been
That's right.
sent up, you'd have had 6 months. You could take a break and not repay anything. You could then take 18 months of interest only options. You know, you could have extended the loan. The help was there, but because of this bank's actions, you didn't get that. You then missed a few payments. They then all the defaults and all that process kicks in. They pass it over to the debt collector. The debt collector then gets confused and is now sending it back to the lender, and it's back and forward. And this is an outrageous story, but it is one I'm hearing day in, day out. Okay, so what are your plans now? What are you going to be doing moving forward? Hopefully, you're not
I'm
in. Go on, tell me what your plans are now.
I'm still going to obviously try and push my business, but this has obviously kind of made me go backwards, if it were. You know, my mental health, my anxiety and stress wasn't very good. And then this year I thought, right, I need to get my business up and running again because I want it. I enjoy doing what I'm doing.
And you were good at that, and that is exactly what you should be doing. Well, let me just talk.
Yeah.
Once the debt collector and the bank get their arse in gear, right? I've explained to you on our many phone calls this week exactly what what you should be doing as far as the debt collector and whatever the repayment plan is you can come up with, what is affordable will be put in place. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be kicking a few asses behind the scenes on that particular lender. The FCA are now more than aware. Okay. Now, obviously, it has to go through the ombudsman because the FCA are not part. It's all the same, but it's different departments. But your story has got through to the executive panel over at the FCA, and they'll be looking into this. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, the struggle that I will have at the moment now is literally, I have no bank account to do what I need to survive. That is kind of what I've got to look into now because they've taken away everything.
Yeah, that's the fact that your husband's pension were going in your account, and now you was expecting that money this weekend, so it was probably well, it was. You tell me it was pending to hit the account today or tomorrow or whenever it was. And now that money's that is just outrageous.
Yeah, and the bank, that was going in. The state pension was going in today, and then on Tuesday his other pension was going in, and that was allowing me to survive and to buy food and to pay the bills. That's all been taken away. I mean, I just feel that yes, if they wanted to close the bank account, close it, but give me 14 days notice to be able to do what I want to do.
Exactly. And it was you making the initial contact last week or whenever it was, which just sort of spurred them to actually write the letters they should have been sending you a while ago. This looks like an almighty cock-up. I did tell you that in the week, and I was trying to work out what was going on, and it looks like they've not been sending you out the right letters and the letters you should have got at this time and that time, yeah? And they've now left you stranded over a bank holiday with no bank account. Your husband's abroad. You've got money in this pending black hole now, bouncing back and forwards to wherever it's going to end up. That is an outrage. And this is the bounce back loan scheme. I'm hearing stories like yours every day of the week. But I'm glad we've got you through to the CEO team at the bank because they're investigating it. And they'll write. It won't be a nice letter you'll get. It'll be, we're defaulting you. I know what it'll be. The FCA, you've told the FCA, you've got a complaint in with the financial ombudsman. What they will come out with, God only knows, but that'll have to work its time. But I seriously wish you all the luck in the world moving forward. You've got my number. As I say, I'm here 12 hours a day, but you can phone me up anytime. If it's 3 o'clock in the morning, you know that, yeah, if you need a chat.
Okay, yes, thank you.
All right, so I don't want to leave you like you're sounding upset or distressed. So what are your plans for this weekend? Just to keep your mind busy?
I have some lovely inquiries for weddings and honeymoons, so I'm going to be sorting those out over the weekend. And it keeps my mind occupied, and it's something that I love doing, helping other people.
Fantastic. All right, then. Well, you've got my full support. Like I say, if you ever need a chat, you pick up that phone and we'll have a chat. Keep me informed on, because you'll be getting letters and emails next week off the bank telling you all kinds of stuff. But the way some of the letters will be worded might panic you again. So you give me a bell back.
I'm sure they will panic me because I'm dreading them already.
As soon as if you get a letter off the bank, open it whilst I'm there and I'll talk you through what the predicament is. But I'll also tell you what the system is and what the process is to get an affordable repayment plan or some of them missed pay-as-you-grow options the bank never let you get put in place.
Yeah, that's what I need to think, because I want to kind of move forward and kind of pay.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to end the webcast here. However, Stay on the line because I want to give you a cyber hug and we'll have a chat.
All right, thank you.